here we are with Professor Ian Foster, personal friend. Thank you very much for coming to Multicore World again, year on year, since probably the second edition. I really appreciate your support, but that brings me to the question, why? What makes you come back? You can speak anywhere in the world in front of thousands of people, but you still come back to this little meeting.
Well, thanks for inviting me, Nicolás, as always, and it's always a pleasure to be here. I'd say there are maybe three reasons. One, I just love coming to New Zealand, so that's a personal preference. Secondly, of course, the wonderful conversations with people that you bring here. The third is I always hope to build stronger professional relationships with New Zealand, which I think I've done to a modest extent. I'd like to do more of it.
Because I mean, you are, and forgive me to be using adjective, you're a luminary, but still you find struggle to find, how can I say, boost the New Zealand exposure into big science. And I keep saying that we have the raw material, but what's not happening?
Yeah, so
imagine that you are Prime Minister and I am the Finance Minister. Do we have a magic wand, or is something different?
Was it Paul Callahan?
Yes.
Yes, was who wrote this wonderful book, Get Off the Grass?
Yes.
Which said New Zealand needs to be funding smart people to do crazy things, not try and pursue some government science policy.
That's an interesting angle, because I mean, Sir Paul Callahan was going to be the first keynote speaker, the first Multicore World. Unfortunately, he passed away. But we have a number of conversations. I dispute with him and also with Sean Handy, who continued his work, that it was a metric about the number of patents issued in a country as a measure of innovation. As an entrepreneur myself, I dispute that. I'm not saying that it's wrong. You need to have a metric. What's your take on that as a scientist?
Yeah, well, I've worked with a lot of science policy people over the years, and patents obviously are a metric that has some value. I've never applied for been awarded a patent, so it's not the work that I do is not.
Yes.
It's more we focus on open science, open software as a means of rapidly building collaboration.
So by this definition, you are not an innovator.
I'm not an innovator. Yes, right. Yes. So I think both are really important. So we shouldn't be focused on one definition.
Now, but again, I go back to my original point. We are by definition a nation of innovators. I've been in New Zealand only 21 years, not as your great ancestor, but how can we draw Mataranga Maori as a source of innovation? I mean, the people of the land which was before us, Pakeha, they were astronomers, they were agronomists, they were big navigators. Is there a blend in the future of New Zealand, something that we should learn?
Well, certainly I know a little bit about their navigational accomplishments, and they were truly remarkable. Beyond that, I've been away for some years, so I'm not as knowledgeable. I do know that now a substantial fraction of the young people of New Zealand are Maori, probably more than of the older people. So we have to find ways to leverage their smarts and enthusiasm if New Zealand is going to be successful.
But still your statement, and this is a positive criticism, is slightly, I won't say patronizing, but is that we need to find instead of finding together. And I found, I cannot be whiter, but I found myself that the language is something that conditions the conversation. I've been trying to do with this Multicore World a little blend, bringing people into, but still, do we have similar experiences to learn in the world, or we should lead the world in terms of blending of First Nations and Western?
New Zealand must be one of the best places to achieve that blending. How to do it, I don't know. I'd love to learn. I'd love to learn not to tell people how to do things.
In my area of activity, I go to the States and people ask me about Mataranga Maori, particularly people in the land-grant university, which is a significant number. It's something that I haven't heard before. And I'm nobody to sound as an authority, which shows me that we are years ahead. But on the other hand, I see that most of us, Pakeha, use the Maori angle as more as a touristic or folkloric approach rather than trying to understand. Do you have any comment on that?
I don't know enough to be able to comment on that. I'd like to learn.
Yes, good. All right, so again, thank you very much. I really appreciate your support and hope to see you next year.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
All the best. Cheers.